Jacksonville can set their sights likely on Kansas City.
Down 27-0 with only a few minutes left in the half, everyone all but wrote off the Jaguars' chance of coming back. But that's when Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the team buckled down and did the unthinkable.
This is a 2nd and 7. Lawrence on the move, looking, throws, end zone, touchdown!
I made a video that talks about all this, so you can check that out if you want.
No, I don't think I will.
But to put it simply, the Jaguars seem to be all but screwed, sitting at 2-6, considering that they lost 5 straight, and their last was to this dude.
Let's ride!
Many thought that this season would be just a repeat of the previous one, as Trevor and the Jags were just not talented enough to win the games that mattered. But it turns out they were.
Here, pressure coming, rolls away, steps in, has a man, Jones is open, he's got it!
Winning 6 of the next 8 games was not too shabby a way to prove that Jacksonville was not a laughingstock anymore, and upon that gave them a chance to take the division in a Week 18 matchup against Tennessee. Since the Titans were dealing with quite a bit of injuries, by this point many expected Trevor Lawrence to lead the Jaguars to a win, but needless to say, it was anything but easy.
With fresh legs, Dobbs throws, end zone shot, pass caught!
The two teams went back and forth all game until the Jacksonville defense stepped up and helped them earn a spot in the playoffs.
Dobbs is hit from behind, and the return by Allen for the touchdown!
From sitting at 2-6 only a few weeks before to now taking over the division was quite a flip, and gave Trevor Lawrence the chance to prove if he had the cojones to win the games that actually mattered. After going 3-14 the previous year, the idea of winning 7 or even 8 games seemed a bit lofty, and so following a 2-6 start, the Jaguars were all but written off the page. Not exactly the spot you probably want to be in midway through your second year if you're Trevor, but interestingly enough, it was the fuel that he needed to do what he did week after week for the rest of the season.
Lawrence lofting end zone, caught for the touchdown!
The narrative around Trevor changed as soon as the wins started coming, because don't forget that earlier in the season, many thought the Clemson product was a quote-unquote bust. Well, I guess that bust was good enough to lead the Jaguars to the playoffs, in what was shaping up to be a very interesting matchup against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. On the other side of the bout was what many consider one of the most talented young studs in football in Justin Herbert. Last year, the Chargers were a few plays away from earning a ticket to Cincinnati, but the Raiders kinda got in the way as they pretty much killed their playoff hopes on the spot, and as a result gave Justin the bravado to come back better the following year.
A lot has to happen. Herbert, end zone! Oh, what a grab! Touchdown!
Behind the second most passing yards in football, good old Herbert was able to lead the Chargers to a pretty dang impressive 10-7 record. And so with a record like that, the Chargers were able to earn the 5th seed and a matchup against the on-fire Jaguars. If you got this far into the video, it'd be radical if you could subscribe, like, turn on post notifications, and comment down below who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. But anyways, back to the video. Since Jacksonville won the division after beating Tennessee, they had the home field advantage, and so the Chargers had to fly all the way across the country to play them in Duval. Even though the game was in Jacksonville, LA seemed to have the better chance to win based on betting odds, so even though they were in a different time zone, the expectation was still that they would take out the Jags.
Owens over there, chased here by Abram, and downfield, Cobb with a back pedal, touchdown!
Although it seems like Herbert has done a lot in the few years that he's been in the league, this was his first playoff game as well as Trevor's, which led to quite a bit of uncertainty going into Saturday night. Sure enough, the time came for the two to face off, and good old Trevor and the Jags got to start off with the ball, and after a nice little run, they decided to toss a rock, and
it's paid off the fake, that's knocked away, it's deflected, and it's intercepted.
There's a thing called jitters when it comes to young players playing in big games, especially the playoffs, but when you throw an interception on the very first pass, it's a bit different, and it led to the Chargers going up 7-0 less than a minute and a half into the game. Okay, so not the greatest start, not even close to a good start, but it was only 7 points, and the Jaguars were getting the ball back, so they seemed fine. Trevor and the Jags were able to move the ball pretty easily down to field goal territory, but instead of just taking the points to make the game a manageable 7-3, on 4th and 7 they decided to take a risk.
Here comes extra pressure, but the pass is intercepted!
There probably should have been a holding call on Zay, but no matter the case, it was extremely out of the norm to go for it on not just 4th down, but 4th and 7 less than 5 minutes into the game, and it gave LA quite a bit of momentum. Thankfully for Trevor, the Jags defense was able to keep the Chargers to only a field goal within the 5-yard line. But either way, the game was still 10-0, and in a matter of minutes, they already had 2 turnovers, so they needed to steady the ship pretty darn quick. Back-to-back punts on both sides gave the Jags the ball once again with a few minutes left in the first, and after an incomplete pass and a 5-yard run by ETN, they decided to air it out once again.
Lawrence throws, and again it's intercepted.
Not 1, not 2, but 3 interceptions in 1 quarter is a rough way to start off any playoff game, but especially your very first, as Trevor was making it very easy on good old LA. Following the interception, Herbert and the gang had the ball within Jacksonville's 20, so after a few easy runs by Eckler, they made the game 17-0.
Final minute. To the outside, there he goes, cuts it back, touchdown.
Okay, so Trevor and the Jags may have been down 17-0 in the first, but it was still early on, although it then got a bit worse after they punted it back to Herbert. The fact that they were up by 2.5 touchdowns was already a nice cushion, but after a solid drive down the field, Herbert was able to extend the lead quite a bit more.
3rd and goal, Herbert throws, caught, Everett, and he is in there.
So, okay, Jacksonville was down 24-0, but it was still the second quarter, and there was still a lot of time on the clock. All they had to do was score some points. But following back-to-back incompletions, it happened once again.
In the pocket, fires, and that is going to be picked again.
Nearly 4 scores and 4 picks later, the Jags gave the Chargers the ball right back. And although they didn't do anything with the gimme chance, they got an even better opportunity.
It bounces.
Oh, my goodness.
Look out. Hit a Jaguar.
Somehow, someway, it got worse for Jacksonville. But even though Ellie had it at the 6, the Jags defense was able to hold up and keep them to 3 as they went down 27-0. Wow, what a rough start for Trevor and the gang, but considering that Minnesota was able to come back against Indy a few weeks ago, anything was possible, and so after both sides punted once again, Trevor got his chance with less than 2 minutes left in the half. After putting together what was his worst performance as a football player up to this point, it was now time to slow it down, and a few completions back-to-back were able to do that as the Jags drove down the field and then did this.
In the pocket, fires, and that'll be caught for the touchdown.
Finally, after nearly 30 minutes of pain, Jacksonville was able to put some points on the board as they made it 27-7 going into the half. Even though he threw 4 picks in 1 half, and his team was down 20, Trevor was given the chance to prove if he had that dog in him. And after getting the ball back following an LA punt, he was able to do just that.
Lawrence looking, under pressure, throws wide open, making the catch.
An 89-yard drive capped off with a touchdown was not too shabby a way to make the game seem competitive once again, as they were now only down 27-14. Although Herbert was able to lead the Chargers to a field goal on the next drive to make the game 30-14, it was still only 2 possessions, and once again with the ball back, Trevor was able to do his thing.
Lawrence protected well. Going deep, has a man open again. Zay Jones.
Back-to-back touchdown drives had the Jags within striking distance at 30-20, and upon that gave them quite a bit of momentum. Even though Jacksonville was pulling off a heck of a comeback, Justin was not going to go out without a fight, and although he was able to lead the Chargers with field goal range yet again, this time it went a bit differently.
And this time, no good.
A rare missed kick by LA gave Trevor and the Jags an opportunity, and they were not looking to take it for granted as they drove 70 yards down the field and then did this.
Lawrence fires into the end zone, caught!
Not only did they just score, but they also got the 2-point conversion to bring the game to 30-28, giving them the chance to win with a field goal if they would be able to stop Herbert and the Chargers. Justin may be talented, but it can only go so far when you're going up against a team as motivated as Jacksonville, and so it wasn't much of a surprise that they forced a 3-and-out, and in turn gave Trevor the ball right back. With the pressure of the world on his shoulders, Trevor was able to move the ball little by little, and had it at the 50 with 2 minutes left in the game. Down 2, needing to get the ball a dozen or so more yards. After 2 passes got them 9, they were given a 4th and 1, and with the game on the line, this happened.
To the outside, ETN! First down and a ton more.
A ballsy call got Jacksonville much more than just the 1 yard they needed, as ETN's 25 got them within the LA 20, and after running down the clock all the way, they gave their kicker a chance to be the hero.
Jacksonville can set their sights likely on Kansas City. Here we go for the win. That is unbelievable.
The Jaguars did the unthinkable and won behind what was the 3rd biggest playoff comeback in NFL history. Somehow they were able to win even after Trevor's 4 first-half picks and all the odds stacked against them as they sent Justin and the Chargers packing back to LA. To say that was impressive is like saying that the sky is blue. because not only was it a ridiculous comeback alone, but it was Trevor and many of the team's very first playoff game, which is a whole nother level of crazy. Now they gotta take a trip to Arrowhead to play against what many think is the MVP Mahomes, on a team that many think is gonna win a Super Bowl this year. But although the odds are all stacked against Trevor and the rest of Duval, honestly, I think they like it that way.
We know we're always counted out of these games and we don't care. We love it.
Thanks for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, like, turn on post notifications, and comment down below stuff you want next. But anyways, see you all soon, and peace out.